want to talk about.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Thursday night. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter /X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 184 of the Throwdown, where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today we are throwing down with a Texas-based wrestler, Mr. Aries Alexander. Aries is making a big splash on the Texas scene, and being a native Texan myself and kind of growing up to some extent on the old World Class Championship Wrestling, I've got a soft spot for Texas wrestling, and I've definitely been excited to have you on the show. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Today I'm doing fairly well.
Well, good. It sounds like it sounds like the last few days may have been a little rough.
Most definitely. Just coming off of a few really important shows, and I'm just a little banged up, but yeah, I'll get through it.
Gotcha. So let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all, or at least most, of Aries' social media accounts, along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't a follower or subscriber, just take the time to go to each of our platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And any questions or comments that you have along the way, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
Right now I'm coming up, I would say in February, I'd be coming up on 9 years of doing this.
9 years. So you've been doing it for a minute.
Oh, for a decent amount of time. Decent.
Yep. So who actually trained you?
So I was originally trained by a local vet here in San Antonio, on the south side of San Antonio. Some people may not, agree with my, I guess, when I say that this is my trainer, they won't really agree with it, but he was my trainer. His name was Tito Sanchez. It's like a vet, like I said, in the South Texas scene. But then I went off to go train at other schools and pretty much learn the craft of the different ways people train people.
Gotcha. So looking over at the Instagram chat, we've already got some people showing up. We've got previous guest on the Throwdown, Wilson Dyer. He's a Florida-based wrestler, good dude. And BML 7129 is hanging out in the Instagram chat. You smiled when I said that. Is that somebody you know?
I mean, the couple of names, seem familiar. Sometimes I scroll through and I'll see a few of those names pop up.
Gotcha. Oh, and my buddy, another previous guest, Caius, just showed up as well.
Now I know Caius.
Good dude.
I know him really well.
Yep. So in the early portions of your professional wrestling training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to kind of wrap your mind and body around?
Well, I guess, a very important one, of course, is being comfortable. I guess being comfortable with pain, because you need to be able to take those bumps. You need to be able to be real comfortable with your own body and being able to, I guess, in the terms of not being afraid to fall. And that's a very difficult concept for a lot of people that are starting in there, is not, throwing their elbows back or not tucking in their chin and, just all the basic stuff. That was one of the main ones to get comfortable with. But as a personal one, it was more time, because when I was originally being trained, my trainer didn't really have much time left on his side, unfortunately. So I only was really training for about 4-ish months until, unfortunately he had passed. So it was more time when it came to myself.
Gotcha. And talking about not being afraid to fall, with professional wrestling, or really any kind of martial art for that matter, you learn very quickly that Mr. Gravity is a mean SOB. He's always going to win.
Most definitely. That was a big issue that I had starting.
Yep. So, going into professional wrestling, did you have a background in other sports, any martial arts, anything like that? Were you an athlete prior to this?
I would say I was, I kept myself busy, but not in terms of like jiu-jitsu, MMA, in the realm of being trained in those other fields. So nothing really. It was just more, I tried to keep myself athletic enough to pursue the business, but nothing else other than that.
Gotcha. So I'm presuming, simply because this has been the case with the majority of people I've had on the show, that you've been at least a fan of this stuff the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, most definitely. Growing up, watching, and pretty much having it be a really big, important part of my life, even till now. But most definitely growing up watching it.
Gotcha. So what would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
Earliest would be sitting on the floor with my grandmother watching TV on her little box screen that we had. Of course, she would throw in a blank VHS to record the pay-per-views back at the time. And the oldest, I guess, match that I can recall is it was SummerSlam 2005. That was as far back as I could remember. Edge, Matt Hardy, that specific match always comes to mind when I try to think as far back as I can, as like my first wrestling related memory.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been a fan myself since I was around 11, and I'm 56 now. So, I've been a fan of the business for 40 plus years. So kind of grew up back in the territory days. I've gotten to see a lot of events in, I guess, recent wrestling history, kind of as they happened, which has actually been really cool. Being around for it and actually seeing it all unfold. But like I said, as a teenager, I was already living in Georgia, but at the time, wrestling was fairly prevalent on the Atlanta stations. So, I mean, even as a teenager here in Georgia, we were getting world class and everything. So I was seeing a lot of what was going on out in Texas at the time, with the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. And I remember, watching, it was like a week delayed, but I remember watching the match at Texas Stadium between Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair for the title, and actually seeing Kerry Von Erich go over on Flair was just so cool.
No, I couldn't imagine.
Absolutely. So, so away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
Currently, most of my hobbies, other than wrestling related stuff, was always just trying to stay fit. I currently train other people at a gym around my area and keeping myself as fit as possible. Most of my day is just spent wake up, eat right, go train other people, probably train again, sleep. And that's my day-to-day regimen.
Gotcha. So, I guess, obviously the physical side of professional wrestling is key. Would you say there is a particular exercise or group of exercises that you feel is really important toward keeping Aries Alexander who he is? Is there a particular exercise that you focus on?
Mm, not in particular. I try to keep everything as evened out and as aesthetically pleasing to the eye as can be. But I would, you know what? I would say my back and my quads, because I have a history of knee injuries. So I'm trying to get the quads nice and strong so that have more protection on my knees. Of course, we're bumping on our backs every single time, so having a nice strong back would also help lessen the damage.
Gotcha. So you were mentioning knee injuries. Was it an ACL or was it something else? Meniscus?
It was a minor MCL that
Oh, okay.
I had strained my
Yeah.
MCL. I have a history of pulling my hamstring. It's happened 3 times. It happened just recently, November 30th. I pulled my hamstring again. But, you know, these legs, they're giving out on me.
Gotcha. So another outside of wrestling question, and that is, outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
I would say just the people around me, really. There isn't anybody like on screen that I see, or other than, local people around me that are trying to keep me motivated and on track. That's really my inspiration to continue pursuing what I'm pursuing.
Gotcha. So UK Paul over in England just made this comment, and I just had to throw it on the screen because, like we were talking about Mr. Gravity, man, he's undefeated.
No, I tell you, man, he definitely undefeated and will stay undefeated. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, so you mentioned that you're in San Antonio, Texas, which, like I said, I lived there for the majority of my first 6 years. What is your favorite thing about San Antonio?
I wish I had a really good answer, but honestly, if it wasn't for family that lived in San Antonio, I most likely would not be in San Antonio. It's definitely not my favorite place that I've lived, but right now, since all my family's here, it's definitely nice to be around them while you have them.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 11. So tell us about in-ring Aries Alexander and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Well, everyday me has been known to kind of hold it all in. You get frustrated daily. The people you see, the people you meet, the people you have to interact with, is sometimes you bite your tongue. And in-ring Aries, he kind of just lets it all out right there on his opponent, on the crowd, just anyone really. So I pretty much just let it build up throughout the week, and then weekend comes and let it all out.
Yeah, so in-ring Aries is basically your catharsis for everything that's built up during the week.
most definitely.
Gotcha. So again, looking over at the Instagram chat, we've got Clash Kincaid and we've got El Unico Santi Medina in the.
I do know about Mr. Santiago. I do know a lot about Mr. Santiago. Another very important figure in my life that keeps me inspired to keep my eyes on the prize and stay on track.
Absolutely. Having people like that in your life is valuable.
Most definitely.
So tell us about your first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts going into it? Thoughts coming out of it? It's been a while, but sort of harken back to that and tell us what your first match was like.
I would say, well, I have my first real match, and then I have like my first match.
Okay.
My first match was more of a vets all got together like, hey, we gotta need a body to come with us to Dallas. They might throw you in a little scramble or something. Who knows? I went up, throwing a little scramble, a little nervous, of course. Threw on whatever music they had and just tried to use what little knowledge I had at the time and just do what I had to do. First match was with the person I was training with. There were only two of us. Just the both of us had trained with him, and just again for that small amount of time. But all of I would say when it comes to the wrestling knowledge that we had, we're both neck and neck. We watched it all our lives. We trained with each other, practiced everything that we could, and then when it came showtime, which was a month after my first little match, I would say we did pretty good. It wasn't the vet's favorite match, but it was on a personal level. It was a very fun match.
Gotcha. So we've heard about the first match. Now if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of. It may be kind of hard to narrow it down after having been doing this long, but
most definitely. But I mean, honestly, I don't even think it's more of a recency bias, but it's been some stuff that I've had very recent. I had a 6-man tag with a couple of my very close partners, the group we're in, and then faced a couple guys that had helped me from my start till now. So we've always been intertwined and always had knowledge from all of them. And it's just something about the place we were working at, the crowd, how crazy loud they were, and then just the chemistry we all have with each other. I would say to me that was my favorite match.
Gotcha. So you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've developed some of these along the way. And what would you say is your biggest wrestling-related pet peeve?
It was a problem that I used to have when I was coming up, letting everything kind of just soak, really just feeling the moment. I would know that when I was starting, it was more just kind of just get to each spot until we were done. And I would just be like, all right, I hope it was good. But now it's more of I really let things breathe. I know spots are coming or whatever, but I kind of just go off what the crowd's giving me, and I give it that chance to really settle. I don't think a lot of people let it really settle and kind of thinking on the fly of giving the crowd what they're giving you. I was just recently I had that. It was I was working a guy, giving him heat, and usually we'd give heat. A lot of people like to ignore the crowd because they're giving heat, but I would listen. I would hear what they were telling me, and I would acknowledge that so I can give the face a chance to shine up. When usually it's like, okay, we'll work heat until I give you this cue to all right, time to shine up. So that's the very specific thing that is more of a pet peeve now that I have, is just not letting things really soak, not letting big spots really marinate, and just feeding off of the crowd.
Gotcha. You are not the first person to mention, the art of kind of reading the room and reading the crowd and really getting in tune with kind of what they want, what their mood is, that kind of thing. And, an example of being able to do that and really having magic happen was that match between Hogan and Rock, where they basically read the crowd and on the fly did the double turn to kind of give the crowd what they wanted, and basically unexpectedly made magic. So and there is definitely an art to that, and I'm pleased to hear you bring that up and just kind of know that you've sort of got a feel for that, because it's important.
it really dictates your whole match. All crowds are different. Some crowds don't really care to be there, but they want to see people hit each other really hard. So sometimes you give them a little bit of what they ask for, and then they'll start buying into what you're selling. Some people
Yep.
like all the spots. Some people like the slow storytelling. You really just got to read the room. Like you said, just read the room. Really just kind of, I mean, they're the ones paying for it. So, you give the
Yep.
people what they want.
They're the butts in the seats. So again, just keeping an eye on the Instagram chat. A previous guest from a while back, Mr. Tomer Shalom from Canada, is checking things out. He's another good dude. Glad to see him hanging out with us. So, in your opinion, well, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
That's something it was a very tough one. When I was looking through some potential questions, that was one that really stumped me, because if I were to like have to choose between, you're either really, really good in the ring, but you just can't talk on the mic, or the other one of really, really good on the mic, but just can't work in the ring. It's a very tough.
I mean, when I devised that question, I'm not necessarily saying that you're great in one and you suck on the other. But like, if you could, be average in one aspect and really great in the other, what do you feel would be most important for you?
It's still tough, honestly.
It is.
It is a really tough question.
And this question in particular, I've asked it in virtually every one of these that I've done, and it's been almost a 50-50 split. And everybody's got their unique reasons for why they choose one or the other. So
yeah, because definitely both have their pros and cons. You can, really work, but the people won't really buy what you do outside of your work if you can't speak.
Right.
And vice versa. I mean, you can speak really well. I don't know. I think I would probably say speaking, because I feel as if, since I primarily do heel work, if I'm really that good on the mic that I can get as much heat as possible, I don't really have to do anything. The face is the one that really needs to give me what he's got. So I don't really need to be the greatest in-ring worker if I can really just get all the heat that I need to get when I'm speaking.
Right. So, over the 9 years you've been doing this, I'm sure you've had some of these, but what would you say has been the most unusual encounter you've had with a fan?
They haven't really been too crazy. The DMs are, they get a little weird sometimes, but nothing too out of the ordinary. I just keep it professional. They want their pictures, let them get their pictures. I haven't had any interactions where fans have been handsy. I'm used to all the stuff that's said to the crowd, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Nothing really has gone to that point where I'm like, wow, this is too much. So it's been fine.
Well, good. Hope it stays that way. I mean, yeah. So in terms of your in-ring work and your promos and such, who or what would you say have been some of your influences? Who have helped kind of shape you into the performer you are?
Mm-hmm. So growing up in those early 2000s and really watching, my taste tend to have changed over time.
Of course.
But when it came to actually deciding, like, oh, I think I want to actually be a wrestler, it was a guy that you wouldn't really think. Well, a lot of people say, oh, well, I grew up during this era, so I'm gonna pick somebody from that era that made me want to become a performer. But I would say I define like some of my stuff. I would more base it off of different people for different spots. Like selling, I feel is extremely important. So I went more towards like the Dolph Ziggler and even stuff outside of WWE, like the Kenny Omegas and all that stuff. So I try to keep the selling more on that more theatrical, little out of the ordinary, little out there kind of way. When it came to character work, I would really that would flip flop a lot. Just debated on what was happening at the time. Like I really liked Shawn Michaels growing up. I really liked more heel side. I really liked Edge growing up. More in the later years, I really liked like the Authority era of like Seth Rollins growing up, and more of his performance was really nice, just over the top, out there. And then later on, it was more, like I said, with the Kenny Omega again. I really liked his work. I really liked this whole Tribal Chief Roman Reigns stuff. More of his early like COVID era stuff. It would always change, and I would try to like take tiny little tidbits of everybody and just kind of make it my own. I'm not one to like just be like, oh, I like that, I'm gonna take it. That's mine, or that's mine, and that's mine. It's more of like, okay, I really like the way he presented this. How can I change it up to make it my own? So it's really just a mixed bag of just so many different people throughout the years of from when I started till now, and now here we got this.
Gotcha. And I completely agree with you about Dolph Ziggler. I feel like he was one of the most underrated talents in WWE. And man, I have loved this run he's been on in TNA. I mean, you know, the guy is just amazingly talented. And I really feel like, you know, this opportunity to work somewhere out from under the WWE umbrella has actually really been good for him. I feel like it's really been a creative and character renaissance for the guy. So man, he's doing some of the best work of his career right now.
Most definitely. I've been keeping up with him as well when it came to all of his newer stuff, and I mean, like I said, he had all the selling down, and then he just kind of he really found himself, and I'm really digging the way he's been going so far.
Yeah, same here. And having the opportunity to work with his brother is kind of cool too.
No, most definitely.
So do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that just really speaks to you and you just kind of find yourself gravitating back to it? Do you have such a match or matches?
I would say it goes to when I was first watching like New Japan. When it really got to the Omega Okada feud, that was what really got me to like really decide like, you know what, I really want to do this. Like I said, growing up, I was like, oh, I love this stuff. You know, I really love watching it and stuff. But it wasn't until like really watching that where I was like, wow, like this is what I want to do. And their whole series of matches, those are the ones where I'm just like, I can go back to them now and just be like, I love watching this.
Yeah. You know, interestingly enough, there were several years back in the early to mid 2000s that I had largely kind of checked out of professional wrestling. And I started to hear about this guy, Kenny Omega, over in Japan. And you know, we had Access TV, which, you know, at the time was showing New Japan. So I kind of started checking some of that out. And then, you know, that in turn sort of got me back into it as a whole. So, you know, to some extent, Kenny Omega kind of drew me back in several years ago. And, you know, the guy is just phenomenal. I mean, and, you know, what's interesting is, you know, he was recently, you know, within the last couple of years, you know, diagnosed with diverticulitis. And I actually was diagnosed with that about 10 years ago, and had ended up having to have essentially the same surgery that he did. Had about 3 feet of my colon removed and all that good stuff. But it's really been cool seeing him, make a really good recovery from it, and be able to still kind of operate at the level he operates at. I mean, with me after the surgery, with some minor dietary changes, I haven't really had any problems since. But it's just been really cool seeing Kenny recover and still, for the most part, be the Kenny of old.
Oh, most definitely. I couldn't imagine having to go through something like that.
No, it was not fun, but it all things considered, it could have been a whole lot worse. So piggybacking onto that question, do you have an all-time favorite promo as a fan?
Promo. There's so many good promos. It's hard to narrow it down. But even something as simple as a promo that Triple H had with Seth one time, where he was talking about, I think that one, I feel that more now than I did growing up when it comes to the promos. I feel it more now. It was when he was talking to him about, success, and that how people are just going to hate on you and all this other stuff. Something about that promo really just, it speaks to you as a worker and really makes you think. It helps clear the air when you have a lot of self-doubt. So that was a really good one. I'm trying to think of another one. But there are just so many good promos out there that I can go back to and just, feel the moment again.
Oh, for sure. So, I can tell by by our conversation so far that you're a very cerebral guy, and you're definitely a student of the game. So, knowing, I guess, at this very moment, in your opinion, yourself excluded, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? Who's the best man and who's the best woman at this moment?
Man, some of my favorites are hurt right now. Kenny of old is great, but he isn't Kenny versus Okada great.
No.
Will Ospreay is fantastic. I've seen him do different types of styles. I've seen him work only like high flying spot style. I've seen him work more aggressive, more powerhouse based style. I watched all of his stuff. Too bad he's currently on the shelf. Bryan Danielson is fantastic, very fantastic technical worker. I really liked, like I said, COVID era Roman Tribal Chief. But I'm trying to think, like right now at this very moment, the best wrestlers in the world. Trying to think. Trying to run through everybody in my mind. Oh yeah, you know what? I would say, since he just returned this past Wednesday, I really think that maybe MJF might be up there, all rounder. He doesn't need to do all the crazy stuff, but he can, depending on his opponent. And I really like that you can adapt to your opponent and work their style if need be. Great on the mic, of course. I'm trying to think female. There's a lot of good females around the world too that are doing really good. Not just WWE, AEW, but Stardom and New Japan. So I'm trying to think female. I mean, a lot of people would like to say Mercedes just due to how many championships she has, but like she's great. Don't get me wrong, she's fantastic worker. But female. I'll have to come back to that one.
Okay. And I will definitely agree with you about MJF. It's been interesting kind of watching his progression, because I mean, when he came in to AEW, the guy is just otherworldly on the mic. And he was a decent worker, but I feel like these last several years he has really put in the work to become an exceptional in-ring guy as well as a talker. And somebody like that puts in that kind of work to really improve their craft like that, that's special. And so as far as I'm concerned, he deserves any good thing that comes his way. The guy has worked and he has earned it.
Most definitely.
So and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would Aries Alexander love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
It's another one too that's really good, because I'd love to work with Shawn Michaels. Would really love to work with Shawn Michaels. But like I said, I always talk about how much I love Kenny so much. During that era of Okada, I'd love to be able to, for one, work at that level. But I would say that's probably like the match I would love to have. It's a shame, it's a shame.
Yeah.
If we can travel back in time, if I can keep who I am now and travel back in time and have the opportunity, that'd be a dream.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would have loved. I mean, I think they had some interaction on the Indies, but I would have loved to have had the opportunity to see a prime Kenny Omega and a prime Seth Rollins.
No, that'd be fantastic. 2015.
Yeah. I mean, that would have just been insane. But you can't. That's why we can't have nice things.
Exactly.
So, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
Currently, at the new size I am now, because back when I had done it, I was maybe about 40 to 50 pounds lighter. I wouldn't do the 450 anymore, the 450 splash. I don't know, I'd have to practice it a lot, but just getting over that fear again after getting rid of that fear the first time, now it's just really trying to do it again. I would rather not try to attempt to do it again. As in moves to take, any kind of like top rope, like driver of some sort, anything off top rope that ends in like a pile driver of some sort, I'd rather not, or anything backwards, anything where I'm going backwards, where I can't see where I'm going. Those, they sound terrifying to me. Moves I like giving, the finish I used to use was a running knee, but like in a bicycle form, kind of like how Sheamus does his bro kick, but in like a knee fashion. I'd fly in the air, I'd get a whole bunch of distance. That one was always fun to do because I could do that to anybody, and even till now, even though I have a new finish, that one has always been my favorite to just go do.
Gotcha. Looking over at the Instagram chat, actually tomorrow night's guest, the passionate one, Jonathan Life, is there, and he basically just pretty much called you a coward.
Yeah, that seems about right. But I'd like to see him do it for sure. I'm sure he'd take me on that offer. But yeah, I know Jonathan really well. I've known him practically my whole career. Him and I believe another one that's going to be. There's a few people that I've known, like Caius. I've known him throughout my whole career. There's a few, and I'm sure they'll all pop their heads in every once in a while.
No doubt, no doubt. So, So you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask, what hurts right now? Or maybe I should ask, what doesn't hurt?
Well, yeah, really, what doesn't hurt would be an easier question to answer. Because right now, I'm dealing with so much. Like I said, I still haven't fully recovered from my hamstring on the 30th. It doesn't help that I continue to try to do more shows during the time, but right now it's just my hamstring, the bottom of my heel on my right foot. My rib is absolutely killing me. I cannot stretch without getting immense pain in my rib. But everything else is fine. Like the important things, like my mental state, that feels fine. My passion is still there, and that's all that really matters. The injuries are all, they're temporary, but really keeping that mental state and that passion to move forward is what'll really make or break you.
Gotcha. Going back for a second to the previous question, and talking about the crazy stuff off the top rope. Recently I've been watching Leon Slater do that Swanton 450, and I mean that's a thing of beauty. But I just don't know how he manages to get his body to do that.
I have no clue. I couldn't imagine how long it took him to just practicing over and over and over, getting over the fear of just in general, just thinking of the move. You're like, oh, well, I probably really like this guy. I probably really like this guy. Is there a way I can put their moves together? And then just practicing it. Like, it's terrifying, but it's very unique. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Watching that tag team match with Javon Evans and Leon Slater, against AJ and Dragon Lee, the thing that was crazy is if you take Javon Evans and Leon Slater and combine their ages, they were still younger than AJ. I mean,
It's crazy how talented the new crop is.
I know. It really is. The Instagram chat's getting kind of entertaining. Santiago and Jonathan Life are kind of going back and forth.
That sounds about right. Santiago's my boy, and we've been currently feuding with Jonathan and his tag partner as well. So it doesn't surprise me to see them going at it.
The South Texas Killers.
Yes. Been working with them a bit now. For a long while now. We just finished doing the Texas Mania tour that AAA was doing here in Texas. We did 3 out of the 6 shows, and every single show was us and them. So it's just ongoing.
Gotta love it. So, over the 9 years you've been doing this, what would you say is the worst bump you have taken?
I've taken some nasty bumps, but that's my fault because I bring it up and like, oh, well, let's do this. Like I said, like when I was starting out, maybe like the first 5-6 years, it was just I would just kill myself. Like my body was just getting destroyed.
Sort of the old hold my beer, I'm gonna try something.
Most definitely. A lot of stuff on the floor to the outside is not fun. Like suplexes, just basic stuff. Suplex, back drop. Anything on the floor that's not padded, horrible. I can't do it. Even stuff as simple as like, I would do like a middle rope moonsault, and just for some reason I don't know what it is. Every time I do it, I somehow mess up my knee or mess up my foot, and I've tried different ways of like angling myself, and I always somehow end up doing that. But those are all my bad bumps are on the outside. I'm always spiking myself with any DDT. And like I said, it's all my fault, but anything like that is horrible. Some of my worst bumps.
Gotcha. So what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically indie wrestling?
Social media is definitely a powerful tool. You can reach pretty much anyone and everyone just with a single post. So I would say it's been a really been really important for workers and promoters, and it's a lot easier than running around the city passing flyers and putting stuff on people's cars. You can get a wider range. I mean, how are you going to let somebody in another city know that, hey, whenever you come to town, we have a show going on? They won't know unless you're going to drive all the way over to that city, pass flyers. So social media has been a very important tool.
Gotcha. So a couple of hot take questions. First off, what is your take on John Cena's retirement match? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your thoughts on it? On how it went, how it was executed, etc.
I mean, at the time, like when I watched it live, at the time I was a little bit on the that wasn't the best. But when I watch it back and when I really, think about it, when I think about the story he's trying to tell, I think it was fine. I think the point he was trying to get across of, the smile tap was just pretty much a thank you. This is everything I have, and we're done. So at the end of it, it's bittersweet is what it was.
Absolutely. The other hot take question, what did you think about the reveal of the masked man being Austin Theory?
I mean, I think it's really great for Austin because he's been really stuck. The second Vince left, he was pretty much done. But I would say that it felt just a tad bit rushed. I feel like they could have waited like maybe another week or two, but they're trying to piggyback off of all the heat they're probably getting from the John Cena retirement match. But I think this is good for him. This is good for him to get his feet back in there, get himself, get some people behind him again.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm not unhappy that it was revealed to be Austin Theory. I mean, that was kind of the prevailing sentiment among the dirt sheets and the rumors and all that. But I'll admit I was actually hoping that it was going to end up being Ethan Page. I was thinking that would have been a cool debut for Ethan Page on the main roster, and I could see him. He's somebody else I could see fitting in with the Vision pretty well. I think he's another amazing worker, and I'm a huge Ethan Page mark. I just think he's just top notch.
Yeah, another one that's really good on the mic, really good in the ring.
For sure.
Doesn't do more than he needs to. That's
right.
For sure.
Right. So knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, other than, basic wrestling advice of like how I said earlier, where it was very important to let things marinate. I think it was more of just to really shut all the hate out, because beginning was very rough. I would say the first 3 years were really rough for me when it came to the business, but I didn't really have that person to be there with me and just say, hey, just keep pushing. Like, you'll get over it. They'll be fine. You're gonna deal with this a lot. Just keep moving forward. I didn't have that person, so I ended up taking a few long breaks, and I feel like those really halted my my progression. I feel like I could have probably done more. I'd probably be at the higher spot now than I am currently if I didn't take those 2 breaks.
Gotcha. But you know what? You've got to also cling to the idea that you are where you are meant to be. You're blooming where you're planted, and there's a plan for all of us, and everybody's plan unfolds differently. So you're where you're meant to be.
Thank you.
So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Most definitely try to just, you have to lock into that character. You really like, well, as soon as maybe about a few minutes before it's time to go out, you really gotta, I guess, get into that mindset of, okay, I'm no longer, like Zane, who I was. I'm no longer him. I am Aries Alexander. I need to be Aries Alexander. All the stuff you've been dealing with all week, let it all out. Just it's perfect. Other than that, it's just more of like the usual, getting pumped up, push-ups, band training, the usual. And then, if my boys are there, my other faction mates, it's all about having that nice huddle of just letting each other know this is where we're supposed to be and this is where we want to go. And they just go out there and do your thing.
Gotcha. So, just kind of a quick rundown. What all do you carry in your gear bag? And do you have anything unique or unusual that you carry in your gear?
Other than gear, it's a lot of hair products, really, because my hair's on the longer end and it loves to frizz. Like, it gets super frizzy. So, a lot of hair products. Of course, an elastic band to get pumped up. And a couple other little items that other workers have given me that I'm just like, okay, well, they're with me. Like, I have a couple towels and stickers and little pins and stuff like that. That's about it for my gear bag. I don't like having too many things in my gear bag because then I'll open it and everything flies out.
Gotcha. So, over the 9 years you've been doing this, do you have a favorite venue to wrestle in? Is there a place that you have wrestled that you just love the ambiance, you love the feel? Is there a favorite venue?
It's, again, recency bias. We worked in Houston for that Texas Mania tour. It was called the Arena Theater, and just something about the way it was set up, where the ring is kind of like on a little platform, and just you have fans all around you, like a full circle of just fans. It's like like a Coliseum arena, where everybody's just around you. The way the crowd was just going crazy the whole night. It was something about that venue that I'm just like, oh, this is the greatest venue I've ever worked at. Other venues have been fine, but like for some reason, and I don't even think it's a recency bias, like I've said earlier, it was just a fantastic venue to work at.
Gotcha. Over on Instagram, Caius just mentioned that you carry grenade gum.
I used to, back when I used to work in Laredo. That was like my second year working. I used to have grenade gum. I would have it from like year 2 all the way to like maybe year 4, and then I stopped buying it. But it was something about that menthol, because I have a really bad like drainage problem when it comes to my allergies. So something about that super strong menthol, the grenade gum, just like cleared all of my sinuses, and it wakes me up. It gives me like a bit of a good feel. Now I use more of like a boomstick, and I'll just like kind of just sniff those a few times, and I'm more awake and I'm good to go.
Gotcha. I've never heard of grenade gum. I'm gonna have to look into it because I love a menthol flavor.
Super strong. Like, it just fully cleared my sinuses.
Insatiable Bobby Lights mentions, I guess he likes it too.
Yes, Bob. That's another member of the South Texas Killers. I'm surprised him and Santiago aren't going at it too. It'd be a 2-on-1.
Well, they probably will.
Eventually.
So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And so, last night's guest was another Texas wrestler, CJ Flores.
Okay.
And he's from the Corpus Christi area.
Okay.
He had heard of you, but wasn't like terribly familiar, I don't think. But anyway, the question that he posed is, are you happy starting wrestling at the age that you did, or would you rather have started sooner?
Well, I started wrestling at 19. So it's not really like, I mean, starting sooner would have been great and all, but if I had the same like path, like at 19 when I had to deal with all the stuff from 19, 20, 21, 22, if I had to deal with that at the age of like 15, I wouldn't have made it. I was happy with the age I started at. I'm just not happy at the amount of breaks and the amount of, I guess, detours I took, because you always want to move in an upward direction, but there were a lot of like detours where I'm just back down, or I'll stay stagnant because I got comfortable. Now I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, move up, keep moving up. So yeah, I would say I was happy with the age that I started at.
Gotcha. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question to pose to the next guest? And I can go ahead and tell you the next guest is Mr. Passionate One, Jonathan Life.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question you'd like to ask him?
I'd be nicer to John than I would be to Bob. Like if it was Bob, I would have asked him, "How does it feel to never be world champion ever?" But John, I'll be a little nicer to John, because I know a lot about John. We've talked a lot going up, so I kind of want to ask him a question that I'm curiously like actually curious about. I know his passion. I know what drives him, what keeps him going. But what would be a good question to ask Mr. Life? I guess maybe, how far is he willing to go to get where he wants to be in the business? I think that would be a good one, because I know how far I'm willing to go.
Well, how would you answer that?
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to think of the business. You got to do what's best for business. Sometimes there are people that you're really close with that are also the ones keeping you where you're at. And sometimes there are things you don't want to do. There's sometimes people you don't want to talk to. But sometimes those are the people that you need to talk to move on up. There's sometimes you need to be taking an extra day in the gym. Sometimes you need to stop eating certain foods that you really like eating all the time. You need to see, it's called a wrestling business. You need to treat it like a wrestling business. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to move up. Everybody wants to get where they want to be signed. I would assume everybody who joins the business wants to get signed to a major promotion. And not a lot of people are willing to do what it takes to get to that level. Not a lot of people are willing to do the drive. Not a lot of people are willing to spend the money, make the sacrifices. People want to spend their time, either just go hang out with their friends or go to a party or just relax and watch wrestling on TV. But sometimes there are sacrifices you have to make, even if it comes at, a little bit of your happiness, just a little bit, because then anybody can get comfortable. Not everybody can get to the top. And that's what I want to do.
Very true. Very true. And getting too comfortable breeds complacency.
Most definitely.
Yep. So we're pretty much toward the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Well, the Empire, my group, Santiago Medina, Jacob Prodigy, we will be making our debut over at Metroplex Wrestling over in Dallas. That is the only thing I have left for the year. But starting in the new year, there's a lot of big things coming. I know there's a place in Arkansas that's very interested and wants to have us full-time throughout the year. I know AAA wants to come back to Texas, and they were very impressed with what we did. They would like to have us again. I have a few more debuts that at some places that I've never been to that are coming up. I'm looking forward to those. But I'm still kind of letting everything sit from what just happened. All the Texas Mania stuff we just did, just the back-to-back weekends. Still letting that kind of ease my mind a bit. So that's all I got coming up. I got MPX coming up. Actually, what's today? Today is Thursday. It's coming up already in a couple days on Saturday. MPX, December 20th. I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully we impress once again, because so far we're on a bit of a streak of impressing everywhere we go, and hopefully they bring us back for more.
Gotcha. Well, as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, like I said, tomorrow night, Friday the 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time, episode 185 with your friend, the passionate one, Jonathan Life. I've enjoyed the interactions I've had with him, and I'm definitely excited to pick his brain, find out about the South Texas Killers, and just kind of see what makes the guy tick. I think it's going to be interesting. And then I don't have a slide prepared yet, but this coming Tuesday the 23rd. 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 186. And this is actually going to be the final episode for 2025. The show's going to kind of go on hiatus until shortly after the first of the year. Just with the holidays, everybody gets busy, and it's just kind of a time to sort of recharge a bit. But this coming Tuesday, the 23rd, at 7 p.m., I've got a wrestler out of New York who is actually originally from Haiti by the name of Rochi Roach. He is currently the One Division Pro heavyweight champion. So I'm going to be having him and a rep from One Division Pro on together. Just kind of talking about the company and just sort of talking about him and his history, and it's going to be a good time. But I definitely want to thank you for your time. This has been a lot of fun. And before we wrap all of this up, do you have any final words for the audience?
Currently, if there's any other workers, of course, especially the ones starting up, don't let other people dictate your path. Don't let other people dictate your passion. You need to really just stay in the zone, tunnel vision of just to the top. You got that one road that leads straight up the mountain. You need to quit letting other people kind of ease their way and distract you. That's pretty much all I got for the people. That's it.
Man, wise words. Wise words. So, anyway, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until tomorrow night, Friday the 19th at 7, with Mr. Jonathan Life. Be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.